Hey everyone, real quick as an intro to these videos that are like an intro to a new topic or like outstanding topic. Facing some tech issues. What was supposed to be posted last night turned into a complete non-post. And so first I've cut it into 3 parts, which I think is more like functional, but also just note anything that references yesterday, today, last night, this night, blah, 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 blah. Just like pretend that's what it is because I'm going to be about 12 hours delayed, I think. Anyway, I just wanted to do this before we started. Let's go with part 1. Thank you guys. I really hope my AirPods don't die while I'm doing this because I've been wearing them all day. But I am here to sort of recognize first of all, my viewers and everything, and the fact that I've like blipped out a little bit and I've actually like sort of gone over a few important days of the year, and I just wanted to acknowledge them. I also want to say thank you to everybody who is supporting this channel and also, chiming in regards to the post that, or the message that I'm bringing and also presenting their post. I think that that's absolutely wonderful. I think that the thrive of a channel like this is something that is rooted completely on its followers. And so, I mean, every single thing that I'm able to contribute is absolutely expanded upon by y'all. So, the other thing that I wanted to say before I move on is I love the comments that actually go further into a question about a topic or a subject, or maybe an impossible solution, but go beyond the surface level because it makes me think for a minute. And so those are the ones that I usually have to like skip over and go back to, but I absolutely love that. Anyway, so I want to talk about 3 important international days, but because there was so much attention paid to tomorrow, which is our happiness day, and I love the support for that because I just think it's phenomenal. If we're gonna give an international day to happiness, I'm gonna start there and then I'm gonna jump back to a few important dates that I wanted to like expand upon. So that would be International Women's Day and the International Day for Women's Judges. So let's start with happiness. Oh, this is so funny because I thought this was going to be like a saga of me reading quotes. And so I pulled out sort of like my quote inspiration books, and I was going to read all of this, and I was going to give like a million different suggestions from somebody else's perspective. But I thought, no, you can just Google that. There were 2 things that I thought were just phenomenal. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it. March 20th is International Day of Happiness. Okay, but so I consolidated everything, and it was actually based upon my day today, which was a little bit funky, in like sort of a micro description. I've written it down because it was just weird. So today, I lost my phone once, which I never do. And I lost my earbuds, so I couldn't find the phone. I lost my keys twice. Again, something that I never do. I set off an exit alarm in a building. I almost ran out of phone data, which was not gonna be very good because I was actually away from the house all day long. I did solve the impossible feat of making my child a pizza in 3 minutes, which he semi-enjoyed. But, other sort of funny things, I was able to leave my house, prep for the house, make the pizza, get out the door, get to the t-ball practice, and with the pizza, and semi on time, except I parked illegally, so I sort of had to go down the hill and like just pretend like I was official or something. Anyway, so I did that, and then everything was cool. but I still had to move the car back up the hill. That's when I set up the alarm, and I get to my practice. I coach a soccer team, so I get to my practice, and I'm like, everything's gonna be chill from now on. Let me see. Yeah, that's kind of where things calm down, except, and I'll get to this at another point. I'm telling you, when you've like been out of high school for a long time, forgetting that 4 + 5 = 9 and not 4 + 5 = 10 can absolutely like throw off any sort of like math thing that you're doing. Yeah, that was like an obstacle, like towards the end of the day. I'll go into it later. It's a funny story. But anyway, today was sort of my rooted in like laughing at the end of the day of having what you could, or what I actually could have taken as a tough day, and it ended up being a really phenomenal, accomplished day at the end of the day. Was I stressed? Yes. But was I like, phenomenally stressed? No, there was like a sense of sort of smile about it. And maybe that's like, sprung upon me from what tomorrow will bring. I'd like to think that. So back to, I'm not going to give you quotes, and I'm not going to like give you my sort of fortune telling on this. I don't even have the capacity to do that. I did find two things that were really inspirational. Actually three, but the last one's going to come at the end. There was a list of, I mean, I have to read this, I'm sorry, because I printed it out. There was a list of 12 things always to remember that I found, in like some of my research at some time, like probably like spending hours like clicking upon, clicking, whatever. Anyway, but it's kind of like sweet. And one is, the past can't be changed, which I absolutely like. I live by that. Unless one of us becomes like a genie time machine person, you cannot go back and change what's happened. It might be hard to like swallow, but like take it in and think about the future, but not a hypothetical future, like a realistic day by day future. But the past is the past, and there's absolutely nothing we can do, unfortunately, unless, I don't know, like Back to the Future comes into the picture at some point. I really think that's important to remember, because if you linger on the past, you're dwelling in something that is absolutely going to bring you down. Moving on to, options don't define your reality. 3, everyone's journey is different. 4, judgments are not about you. That's one that I want you guys to think on, because it took me a second to sort of process that. I really actually had to think about that one for a moment, to think about what that meant to me. And then 5, overthinking will lead to sadness. I'm a culprit of that. And 6, happiness is found within. 9, or 6, where am I? 6, I've lost my count. I'm just going to keep on going on. Next one, which I think is supposed to be 7, your thoughts affect your mood, which clearly, like, you can't control your emotions, but you can like regulate where your thoughts go, or kind of redirect where your thoughts go. Again, like, I've had to try like very, very hard to do that myself. Moving on. Smiles are contagious, and that is a fact. Smiles are contagious. Laughs are contagious. If you just smile walking down the road, you're going to make somebody a little teeny bit more happy. I promise. It is actually scientifically proven. Kindness is free, which is like so sweet. It's okay to let go and move on. I can't even speak to that because I'm horrible at it, but take it for what it's worth. If you're a person who can actually sort of embrace that, I'm so jealous. But I also am like thinking that you're brilliant, because I am incapable of doing that. And it's like, totality. The second to last one, what goes around comes around. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I'm not like a person who thinks that like you do harm, someone does harm, that kind of thing. I do think that when I think of like luck, I kind of don't believe in it. I think that people who get lucky, either have put it in like an entire amount of effort into where they sort of like, popped by the grid and became lucky, or they became lucky by happenstance. But lucky is like very nondescript. I mean, just because you win the lottery does not mean that you're lucky. And so, I'm going to skip over 11 because I'm kind of, I can't describe how I feel about it. If you guys have comments, please leave them. 12, things always get better with time. Okay, and that's another one that I like hate thinking about, but it's true. Time absolutely takes time. It is so hard to rely on something that is sort of in this, you know, atmosphere around us that we have no control over, and we have no end date, we have no sort of calendar to go by. But time takes time, and that is the process. If you work towards it, towards any sort of I don't know, positive behavior versus like lingering in grief or sadness or, you know, whatever state. You know, I think that if we all look positively, you know, we can incrementally think that time will take its time. We're not going to shoot for the stars tomorrow, but maybe we can shoot for the stars tomorrow for tomorrow, and maybe next year will be next year, and so on and so forth. The other one, and I love this, I don't want to spend too much time, this was so hard to find. I found it like a couple years ago because there's so many it's like ABCs of happiness, and it sounds a little cheesy. I'll just show it to y'all. Okay, actually, if you want to screenshot it, hold on, if you want to, well, it's backwards. Whatever. If you want to screenshot it, you can. This one's a little bit different than a lot of the ones that I found online, and I'm just going to go through them so quickly. Basically, it's happiness is A, acting on your dreams. B, building bridges, not walls. C, common sense and moderation. D, disposition, not circumstance. E, embracing optimism. F, feeling what you do matters. That's like a really important one. Seriously, like you have to have me time and also personal sort of inflection on not judging yourself and actually how much you contribute. G, giving more than receiving. H, have good friends, have good friends, have good friends. I'm lucky to have wonderful friends, but you don't need whatever, you know, 10,000 friends or a million followers to have quote unquote friends. Get your people close, and like they will stick by you and you will stick by them. That's really important. I, inside you, not out there. That's another sort of thinking within yourself. J, job well done. Pat yourself on the back when you've done well. Okay, knowing when to let go. Again, I'm horrible at this, but like when it's done, it's done. Don't linger on it. Let it drag you down. L, living within your means. And I don't think that means like necessarily monetary means, but it's like, do not shoot for the stars when your sort of global bubble is here. Maybe it can be out there, but if your aspirations are beyond that, you're determined to sort of like set yourself up for like goals unachieved. M, making the world a better place. And okay, that's sort of vague. I'd like to say that, I don't know, like planting a tree or feeding the geese or making sure that I recycle, or honestly, giving somebody a smile, or, you know, being kind, holding a door. I think that those are such modest efforts at making the world a better place. And not going to bed angry. This is so important. And I sort of took this for granted when I was younger, but I will tell you, do not go to bed angry. And when you wake up in the morning, have peace of mind and make your bed. That means you've accomplished one thing in the morning, totality. You have made your bed and you can start your day. And going to bed angry will only lead to lack of sleep, bad dreams, or a really bad next day, and your bed will not be made. Optional and optional, comma, and so is misery. So when I was reading that, the reason I got tripped up, because I think that the quote actually is optimism is optional and so is misery, or something along those lines. It doesn't matter. I don't think that we can choose whether we're sad or not. We do have a little bit determination on pulling ourselves out of misery. And it takes effort and it takes like recognition. I think the first thing is recognition. P, progress, not perfection. That's so important. None of us are going to be perfect, like at all. So let's focus on progress. Q, quality of your thoughts. I think that that's, fairly straightforward. R, realistic expectations. I think that goes back to a lot of stuff that we've talked about, or like that I've talked about. Kind of keeping your frame of mind within the frame that is realistic. I'm laughing so hard because I think we got to Q, and my iPad ran out of data and it shut me off. I'm thinking, really? Like, give me 5 more minutes, like, please. Anyway, let's smile throughout that. Let's go through R. Hopefully these can be blended together. Somebody better than IT is hopefully able to help me. Fifi. Let's go with R. Realistic expectations. S, sharing love and laughter. And then we're going to go to T. Oh, and I don't know where I got cut off, but going back to sharing love and laughter, again, like, I do think that it is absolutely like soothing, healthy, and sort of like I don't know, like releasing when there's laughter, actually when there's tears, when there's like shared emotions. All of that is very, very cathartic, but laughter is like the best. And T, today well done, another pat on the back. U, unabridged enthusiasm, like just, be positive. I mean, despite all of my faults, I would like to say that I do have like quite a bit of enthusiasm, like within sort of incremental moments. Let's move on. V, vintage memories. Okay, so like when it comes to vintage memories, I want to like also point out the fact that this does not mean, hopefully it doesn't mean, I didn't write this, perseverating on the past. I think that it means like treasuring them. So instead of, I'm going to give one example just because there's so many examples of this that you could sort of like take one way or another. But let's suppose that you lose someone that you're absolutely, is like dear to your heart. And I mean, when I say lose someone, actually, I mean lose something. I mean, this could be a person. It could be like your dog, honestly. Whatever the relationship is, you lose something that is like, kind of core to what you are in terms of like your, I don't know, being. And I think that the point of this is to, yes, of course, grieve. If you don't grieve, you're not going to heal. But also, if you think of memories, the reason that you love that thing, the reason that you treasure that thing that maybe is no longer there with you, is because there were so many memories of like smiles, happiness, laughter, positivity, and in the whole realm of maybe sadness, you can think about how much of that was so, so sad. And why am I having these vintage memories? Well, the vintage memories are the positive ones. And it's really hard. You can't actually force yourself to think that way. But I do think that incrementally, you can force yourself to remember moments which had absolutely, almost no sadness, no negativity, didn't have sort of this corresponding, let's balance the scale stuff. And that seems like so simple. And I'm only talking about one example of like a circumstance, but, going back and trying to change memories, like you can't change the past, like we said earlier, but you can take memories for what they are, shift them into a positive sort of memory, or perseverate on the negative ones. Okay, moving on. W, whatever. Okay, y'all, like I said at the very beginning, we're going to take a break here, whether you just need a break or for my example, your computer breaks, your iPad breaks, your phone breaks, your earpods break, your technology system and internet break. Anyway, we're going to take a break at the end of this happiness segment, and we're going to move on to our second part, which is focused on International Women's Day and the International Day for Women Judges. All right, we'll see you in a second. Really quickly moving on. I need to jump back because I do want to recognize the International Day for Day of Women, and I also want to recognize the International Day of Women Judges. So let's go really quickly. And the best thing, hold on, I wanted to point to like within the realm of the International Women's Day. I wanted to go to an actual international convention, back to sort of like the precedent of recognizing these rights. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, maybe I have, but that convention is sDay, and that convention is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Fantastically, this actually, or maybe not fantastic, but I'd like to think that this was sort of like a good sort of start of the movement. Let me think about this. It was adopted by the United Nations in December of 1979. It was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. So that's like very different than the whole realm of like the UN. And then it entered into force as an international treaty on September 1981. And that seems like a huge process, but that actually, we're talking about trying to get as many nations throughout the world to negotiate and sort of adopt principles of human rights. And then let me think about this. I'm reading a fact that I maybe didn't know. And there's been like a number of countries that actually have like ratified it or adopted it since then, which is good. Like hopefully, like I've said before, human rights are difficult because human rights there's no sort of like real repercussion or consequence. There's no real motivation except for the fact that you are in support of human dignity, liberty, freedom. So yes, these conventions, they are important. The fact that we've established an international system of at least accountability to some extent is very, very, very important. But again, it kind of hurts my heart that in order to treat people well, you need to have some sort of, like additional sort of tax or scale or money or oil or something involved so that you count. But okay, I'm not going to solve this. So and all you can do is that you can impact, people's hearts and make them sort of backtrack and think about, wait a minute, we're all human at some point. And I don't mean that to be forcing a thought upon people. I mean it to maybe just try to share open ideas of how important we are as individuals and our dignity and our humanity. And hopefully that people intrinsically can realize that. I was going to read 10,000 things about sDay, but I will say this. So among the international human rights treaties, this convention, sDay, takes an important place in bringing the female half of humanity into focus of human rights concerns. The spirit of the convention is rooted in the goals of the United Nations to, one, reaffirm faith in its fundamental human rights and in the dignity and the worth of the human person. Again, 3, in the equal rights of men and women. And I mean that men and women and women and men, which I think is really a really, easy sort of sentence to describe that treaty. And it actually has done phenomenal work. If we move on to the International Day of Women Judges, IDWJ. So this is more recent, and it's also super empowering. I think that there's certain places within the world that people live, which freedoms are a little bit easier for women. And so having a women judge or having somebody who feels like they can walk into a court system and be respected is not necessarily an absolute barrier. And that has nothing to do with neglect or lack of respect or ignorance. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It's a fact. How much are we going to take in as humans? And the only thing that I'm trying to provide is the idea that, first of all, there is sort of an appreciation of what you actually have your rights to, and what's available to you. Gratification does not mean you are not able to, I don't want to say criticize, but improve what's going on around you. But at the same time, there's also at least a motivation within me to see the other side of the coin and think about what I could do from where I am to improve things for other people in circumstances where, I mean, I've never lived in, I've never existed in. Honestly, I mean, you can work somewhere and you can spend a lot of time there, but it doesn't mean you're existing in that society. Anyway, I've gone on a tangent. Let's go back to the IDWJ. So the International Day of Women Judges recognizes the leadership of women judges in promoting the rule of law and equality, and encourages women and girls to contribute their talents in their countries and to the international community. And that sounds like kind of vague, but if you really take it to heart, I mean, it actually is very poignant. And let me see. Yeah, it's one sentence, and it's really great, I think, in terms of like a mission statement. And then I'm going to jump down. The UN General Assembly established the International Day of Women Judges on March 10th in 2021. First observance was on March 10th, 2022, which is pretty cool because during that time there was a lot of like shift and changes going on with sort of a women's perspective and women's, I think, pledge for rights, and having women judiciary in the picture was a very important part of that. And I'm just going to blip over this. And so if we're going to talk about the underlying purposes of the IDWJ, one is to celebrate the accomplishment of women judges. Hurrah. Yeah, like that's my main thing. Two is to promote gender equality in the judiciary. Three, to encourage women and girls to pursue careers in the judiciary. Four, to raise awareness of challenges facing women judges. That's like a big one, because there's so many circumstances that go in. Oh my gosh, I've done this so many times. Sorry. That go into like women actually. I mean, here. I hope so. How long was that? Of women facing the actual position to be in, an actual judging, I don't know, meaningful position without kind of being like stuck in there as sort of a representative with actually no true underlying ability to voice their concerns and things. And so there are so many women in my life that have undertaken that sort of challenge and risen so high. One of the Supreme Court justices in Zambia, a Supreme Court justice in Sri Lanka, many, many, many women who have like empowered their careers throughout the United States. And then also, I'm going to give a kudos right now to a lot of the male influences that have supported not just women judges, but women in general to help them establish like significance to where they are. And that includes, I'd say my major one would be in Bangladesh and in Guatemala. But again, this is sort of my personal experience, not like worldwide. Or like worldwide experience, I guess it exists worldwide, but those are the sort of things that come to my heart when I'm thinking about this. I think that, power within women, but also empowering women within their communities, within their society, within men who exist in the society, obviously, is, I don't know, like it like strikes me to the heart when that kind of comes into the picture. Where were we? I don't know, where were we? Okay, to develop strategies to overcome obstacles to women and women's inclusion in the judiciary, that's kind of difficult. And then goals to promote the rule of law and equality, to strengthen the judiciary and to ensure the quality of justice. Again, that's a really powerful statement in terms of like, like a mission statement, in terms of like satisfaction of it. That is a great goal, but there's so many things that go into achieving that. Okay. We're going to take one more teeny tiny break before part 3, which is going to be focused on our kind of conclusion about these videos and there's like sort of a blip about happiness and a little surprise because there's just been so much support on that subject from the very beginning. Anyway, tick, 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 we'll be back in a second. Thank you so much for coming back to the final part of our sort of series conclusion. We're going to wrap up with part 3, and I'm so happy that y'all are a part of this and that I have your support and that you're carrying this message throughout your lives as well as mine. Thank you so much. We'll see you later after this video. And I wanted to end with, if I can do it, if I don't ruin this, hold on, give me a second. Okay, never mind. I was gonna have a little segue into a song that related to this, but never mind. I don't need to be like, super IT and technical. I obviously can't put a video and music together. But I did come across this today, kind of randomly. This is a birthday card that I bought probably 15 years ago. I think that I was somewhere and I saw it and I just thought like, oh, I love this. It's a happy birthday card, okay? And so this is the card. It says, I know it's backwards, happy me day, okay? Which seems like super selfish a little bit. It's your birthday or whatever. The inside says, yes, it's all about you. Happy birthday. So I'm thinking, why did I gravitate towards that? And then, of course, I was like, I'm so interested in like, how many people actually have my birthday? Like, why would I have that as like, like your birthday is actually sort of a day that you're like, this is my day. Not necessarily it's all about me, but you can feel like, well, at least I was born on this significant date. And that's what I take from this. And I looked it up and I think that it's at, very broadly because now I can't access my phone because I'm taping on it. I'm so old. Videoing on it. So 8 billion people in the world. I think there's 22 million people that have my birthday. And so if you think about it, you're like, okay, maybe there's times throughout the year, like maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's 5 days from now, maybe it's your birthday, maybe it's, I don't know, like New Year's, maybe it's Christmas, maybe it's, whatever sort of holiday, New Year's that you're celebrating, whatever it is, or it's just any average day that you can stand back and be like, okay, I need this for like a me day. And it does not mean that you are being like a selfish human being. It means that you are taking time for yourself, which was really like when I looked up, oh, wait, how selfish am I to have a me day? And I'm like, 8 billion and there's 22 million, like 8 billion is a lot, but there's also 22 million people on this day who are having like a me day. I generally don't take a me day. I'm right next to a major holiday sort of part of, where I live. And so I usually don't engage in a whole lot of me time. But if you're having a tough time tomorrow, if you need to have like a me day, if you have a good support system, if you have great friends, if you have the ability to sort of reach out and say, hey, like I need today to, help me, that is not something to like frown upon. I think it's something absolutely, empowering, to be honest. And so I've talked for so much longer than I anticipated, but let me finish with this. Again, I support, all of these topics and I support y'all as much as you're supporting me. Sorry, my foot is going numb because I was sitting on it. And again, I think the strength and power behind any message that I have to say is actually not my voice. It's the message that is provided, to an outside existence that I have absolutely no capacity to reach without somebody watching this and sharing it or spreading, the knowledge or the message or the hope, strength. I think, everybody who's in tune to this is shocking and amazing, to be honest. There's one more thing. Oh, I wanted to say this. I wanted to say that, at least for me, like you have different priority levels in life, and then you have like the me time and you have like whatever, your family, that kind of thing. And then I've realized that with this channel, this has become like a different facet, a different sort of like ding, ding, part of, huge priority within like my whatever tree or whatever, you know, priority system. And I love it because it makes me happy. It makes me, I don't know, like it makes me just feel so, so genuine in contacting with people who are, you know, pursuing the same message and the same concept. And I thank you guys because I wouldn't exist without you. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Tomorrow's happiness day. Do something happy. Make yourself smile. If you have something to share, share it, please. If something really makes you smile, please share it. And I appreciate it. I don't know what just happened with my phone. I don't know what y'all heard, but anyway, blah, 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 blah. Tomorrow is International Happiness Day. If something makes you happy, smile, share it. And I don't know. I mean, you can see the smile on my face. This is not fake. It's genuine. I really, really, really hope everybody appreciates tomorrow, March 20th, and takes advantage of happiness as much as they can. Okay, bye, guys.